Welcome back, everybody. My name is Greg McDaniel. This is going to be an amazing show. This is Real Estate Coach Uncensored.
And I'm Bernice Ross. We have a great topic for you today. It's called Why Top Producers and You Should Always Use a Script. You know, Greg, one thing I've seen, I know you've seen this too, all top producers know their scripts and dialogues. In fact, they know them so well that they can just say them off the top of their head. They know how to easily overcome client objections. They know how to get them to move their clients towards closing. The question is, how can you get to that point? And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So, Greg, why do agents have so much trouble using scripts effectively?
One of the biggest things, Bernice, that I've found after doing over 600,000 cold calls is the fact that people don't listen, especially agents. And I'm not saying that in a diminutive way. What I'm saying is God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. And so we really need to hear what these folks are saying to us. Mike Ferry and his organization really kind of coined this in a very quick, easy script. We'll explain a little bit later is this: agent, when do you plan on moving? Prospect, when I die. Agent, well, when will that be? You know, Bernice, the reason why this really works well is because the script is very, very short. You're asking a distinct question. You know, the biggest problem is, Bernice, is that the agent did not listen to the prospect. So, Bernice, number 2, and when it comes to my mind, is that the scripts are too long. You got to be to the point as fast as humanly possible. Be as short as you can, but be as long as you have to. Don't make it difficult, but get to the point.
You know, one of the things when I was working at one of the major franchises, Greg, they had these scripts that are like a page long. I can't remember that. You know, shorter is definitely better, just like you said.
Bernice, number 3 really comes to mind for me is a lot of agents, and I've been guilty of this too, a lot of us have been, we go into the telling phase and we tell all about how great we are, how great our team is, and instead of asking questions about the wants, needs, desires, and goals of our potential prospects and future clients. So the real big takeaway on this is ask a lot of questions, take a lot of notes, and understand where they want to go before you tell them what you can do.
You know, Greg, that point that you just made about taking notes is incredibly important because that tells the person that you are listening. You're hearing what they said. Let's go on to number 4. Is, you know, it sounds like I'm using a script. Of course, it's going to sound like you're using a script if it doesn't mirror how you speak or if it doesn't fit your speech patterns. You need to make the script yours, and here's how you do it. You want to begin by reading the script out loud and recording it with your phone or other mobile device. If it doesn't sound right, rewrite it, repeat the recording again, and replay it. And if it still doesn't sound right, keep working on it until you got the script the way you would like it to sound. Then, going forward, you play that perfect script over and over. It's like a song on the radio. You know, you keep hearing it over and over, and all of a sudden you'll be able to remember it without thinking about it. It just happens automatically. And it sounds natural because you took the time to rewrite it and make it yours. Greg, when we were prepping for today's show, you came up with this great analogy that I just loved. It's called the backbone and ribs. I've written a lot of, training on scripts and everything, but I thought this really kind of crystallized what's most important, and then how to actually listen and have a conversation with the lead at the same time. So tell us, what is the difference between the backbone versus the ribs?
Bernice, it's really simple, but a lot of people don't understand it. Your backbone, and this is a very visual thing, so it's your vertebrae and your backbone, right? That holds you up, that keeps you straight and keeps you moving forward. That's your script. That's what your go-to is. That's what you've learned from all your instructors and trainers. Your ribs are attached to your backbone and they pop out, correct? Those are the different conversations that you would have with that prospect. So did like boating, cooking, dogs, cats, goldfish, sailing, or did like hiking, whatever it's going to be. That's your rib. So go off on that tangent for a little bit, but yet come back to your backbone, which is going to be where you're going to take them to that closing comment. So something you want to start with, that I do all the time, is you start with the greeting of, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, something along those lines. I avoid saying, hey, hello, how are you doing today? That sounds very salesy, and that's my opinion. And then I go directly into, hey, good afternoon. My name is Greg McDaniel. I'm with ABC Realty. Hey, the reason why I'm calling today is blank. And you can fill that in for sale by owners, for rent by owners, circle prospecting, new listing, pending sale, whatever it's going to be. But it's those three components: who you are, where you're from, why you're calling, with a nice cordial greeting up front, and then asking that closing question in regards to, when are you folks thinking about selling? If I could drop a bag of cash in your lap today, what would that mean to you? How would that affect your life? What number would that look like? And then the goal is to get that face-to-face appointment. Bernice, the number one thing that you want to be doing here is actually setting that appointment face-to-face, belly-to-belly, eyeball-to-eyeball, so you can get to know the other human being. And so given the alternative close of, would today at 3 or tomorrow at 4 work better for you? And then be quiet. Silence is the best negotiator. It will help you get more appointments, and then you can build the relationships.
Greg's just giving you the format for the backbone. Here's what it sounds like. Agent, good morning. I'm Sally, agent with ABC Realty, and I specialize in helping renters become homeowners. Is getting help with becoming a homeowner a service you want? The prospect, oftentimes they say, well, I'd like to become a homeowner, but I don't have enough of a down payment. So now I'm going to ask a closing question to schedule the appointment. Let's set a time to meet where I can go over the different down payment assistance programs in our area that can help you to buy now. Does tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. work for you, or would 4 p.m. be better tomorrow? And as Greg says, wait for them to respond. Greg, we've been talking about the backbone, but what about the ribs? How do you use this?
There's so many different ways to use it, but let's make it very, very simple for everybody. So when it really comes down to asking questions, the words how and what will result in much deeper answers. Questions that begin with when and where and who usually generate 2 to 5 word answers. Absolutely avoid asking the question why, because it puts the prospect on the defensive. And that's where the most powerful and influential script I've ever used in my entire life comes into use. And it's called FORD. It stands for family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Now, here's the cool thing about FORD. It doesn't have to be used in that order. It can be used in any order that you're going to go out there and use it in. So if you hear someone talking about they want to retire and move to, I don't know, the Philippines, whatever, pick a place, right? And you're like, oh my God, how long have you guys lived here? I mean, is that your dream to do this? What are your goals? So on and so forth. Then say, man, it sounds like you've really been active. What was your occupation? What is your occupation? Oh, do you have family here in the area? And it sounds like you love to do boating. I mean, what are some other recreation activities that you do? The power of that conversation is the fact that you're getting involved in their life. It's not about you, it's about them. Once they know that you care about them, then they'll start caring about you. And then instead of you talking about how great you are and you're number one in your marketplace, you're asking them about what occupation they got into and where they got into it and would they do it again and what made you move to this area or so on and so forth. They will, I guarantee you, they will ask you, so how long have you been in real estate? What areas do you specialize in? How's the market going? And the questions can go from there, but just use the FORD. You can use it in personal and professional settings, no matter what situations you're in, as long as you can get the other person talking. Okay, Greg and I are going to role play here a little bit. We'll see how this goes. So example number 1, prospecting expired listings. So I'm being the agent here. Good morning. I'm Sally, agent with ABC Realty, and I specialize in selling homes, not listing homes. Are you still interviewing agents for the job of marketing your home? It really depends. I mean, I have all these agents call me all the time. Where were you when my home was on the market? Well, when I list a property, I focus on getting my seller's property sold, not on marketing or selling someone else's listing. That's what you would want if you listed your house with me, wouldn't it? Be totally focused on selling your property, not someone else's. Well, yeah, absolutely. Okay. But tell me, in your opinion, what was the main reason your home failed to sell? Our agent only took a few photos on his phone, didn't even shoot any video or professional photography or anything like that. He only held a couple of houses. I mean, I'm in the TV business, okay? I could have one of my friends come out and shoot a decent set of photos and videos. So, I mean, that's where we stand. That's what happened.
I'm sorry to hear your agent didn't provide professional photos and do a video of your property, especially since you're in the business. What type of work do you do in the TV industry?
I'm a sound editor for Amazon Original Productions, actually.
Oh, wow. Sounds like great work. Now, here's what you could do at this point. When the client gives this response, this is your opportunity to get into the ribs, to dig deeper. Greg, what kind of questions would you have asked that person if you had? They just said they work for Amazon producing, as sound editors on original productions.
Sure, I would have gone immediately into the question of like, oh my gosh, you work for Amazon. How long have you worked there? Do you like it? Is that your first choice? What's the best thing you like about it? Would you work there again? How long have you been doing audio production? Give me a tip. I would love to do. I'm an amateur here trying to do videos. What would be one piece of equipment that I should buy today to use with my iPhone or Android or whatever else? But you get into their world really quickly, asking about things that they know about, and say, hey, you know what? I really appreciate your time. What's the best editing software I should be using so I can help you sell your home the fastest with the highest price and best terms?
Greg, you just really gave such a brilliant example of how to respond. All those things that you rattled off, all of that is just taking forward and using it, building connection. And you've got that client, at this point, because you have something in common with them and you connected over what they care about. So ultimately, the final thing would be, would you be available tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. or Saturday at 1 p.m. to meet to discuss how to get your property sold using professional photographs, a drone video, and definitely it'd be great to get some tips on that, a 3D virtual tour. Would that be something you'd be interested in doing? Would you be available at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning or Saturday at 1 p.m. to meet at your house to discuss how to get your property sold using professional photographs, a drone video, and 3D virtual tour? And here's what's important about this. Greg just gave you this really great example about how to, showed you how to connect with the person. But you went back, and this goes back, though, to focusing on why the seller thought their house didn't sell. So here's what worked about the script. First, the agent was prepared to overcome the seller's objection about not seeing the property when it was listed previously. Second, Greg again modeled forward beautifully. He asked I asked a what question, and then he told you how he would have phrased it. He had so many what questions in there, and what you do, how you do it. How can I do this? What are the better softwares? I mean, so much that was there. And then, of course, it ends with the alternative choice close to set the appointment. So, Greg, when we were prepping for the show, you had a really interesting technique that you use. The sellers think they're interviewing you, but you actually interviewed the sellers to see if you want to work with them. How has that worked out, and what do you say to them?
So one of the things I use, Bernice, is the method. I kind of pull back a little bit. And so a lot of agents are so eager. Oh my gosh, I need a listing, I need a buyer, something along those lines. What I say is like, you know what, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I really look forward to meeting with you over at your property. What I want to do is I want to come over and I want to set a time with you because I want to make sure I'm the right agent for you and you're the right client for me. What would be best, either today at 3 or tomorrow at 5? And so what that does is it kind of puts people back on their heels a little bit because they don't expect any real estate agent to ever sit there and say like, well, I might not want to work with you. That just doesn't happen. And so people get kind of, people always want what they can't have. And so automatically you create that attraction in a business sense. So they're like, oh my gosh, well, this person must be able to do something for me. Then you sit down and you go through the forward script and you really build that relationship.
So, Greg, I love that approach. Here's a second example. We're going back to that Mike Ferry script. When do you plan on moving? Prospect replies, when I die. And when would that be? No, we don't want to do that because that's not listening. So, Greg, how would you have handled that response if you knocked on someone's door and they said that to you?
Well, something that my father and I developed many, many years ago, and is what we coined the carousel effect. And so what we do, there is a personal bubble, and this could be on either a phone or a door knock. but people don't want people in their space. So what I do is I intentionally break that bubble. So when I'm face to face with you, I will then turn around and go shoulder to shoulder with you at the front door, and then I will point to the right neighbor, to the left neighbor, across the street, and say, what about them? 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 And then I step out of that personal bubble so people feel more secure about, kind of answering questions. And then I stand there with pen and paper in hand, and I'm ready to take notes. And it's amazing the content that you get. Well, that's a renter over there, and that's a new couple, and they fight. That's an older couple, he has pancreatic cancer. This property over here has been vacant for 3 years, but they keep up the property, and they tell you everything about that neighborhood. And the value add on that is that, like, look, nobody likes to talk about divorces or breakups or anything like that, but it does happen on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis between couples. And so keep an eyeball on that property. Now, God forbid, nothing happens, and they stay there and they live a happy life. But the renters, go out there, get a photo with your smartphone, take a photo of the front of that property, then go back into your title or your attorney, wherever state you're in, and get the address of the owner's address, not the property address. Send a photo to them either by snail mail or email or internet or whatever else. Say, hey, my name is Greg McDaniel with ABC Real Estate, and I was out doing some prospecting today, and I saw your house at 456 Maple, and I know it's a rental income property for you. This is the most recent photo of it for you. Just wanted to see if you ever thought about maybe selling it or maybe buying some more additional investment properties. So the value add with the carousel is that with that script, you've now built a relationship with that homeowner because you're not pressuring them. You got information about all the other neighbors, and I guarantee you they're going to say this. Well, they've been talking about selling, but don't tell them I told you. My lips are sealed. We never had this conversation. And you go over there with a little bit of intel, and you just develop the relationship and see what value you can bring to them.
Greg, as we were prepping for this show, one of the questions I thought I've always liked that you have asked many times that works really well is, which one of your neighbors would you like to see move?
That is, they have to be asked in the right context, right? You get the rapport built up. Kind of what I do is I kind of get a little closer to them, and I'm like, so, which one of your neighbors would you like me to help move? And we get a giggle, we laugh. Then at that point, I built the rapport and the trust, so I can get their information and do follow-ups and put them in the database and the whole 9 yards. But yeah, it's a fun question to ask because, again, that's good data.
So to wrap up for today, the simple format that we've just discussed that Greg shared with you, the backbone and the ribs, is the basis for creating a great script that'll work for your business. And it can be really hard when you first start, but if you keep working on it and you keep working on it, it'll come naturally. And that's what it takes. Greg, what's your final takeaway?
Final takeaway, Bernice, would be going out there and finding a scripting partner that you can work with. And it doesn't matter what that script's going to look like, but just start going after it and start getting into understanding your verbiage. You're going to become more powerful in regards to your prospecting, and you're going to be more comfortable. So find a scripting partner, get comfortable with your scripts, go out there and make money and have a lot of fun.
Thanks for being with us today. See you next time.